Parenting can be a roller coaster of emotions, but it doesn't have to be a constant struggle. At Positive Parenting Solutions, they offer a roadmap to transform your family dynamic and create a more peaceful home environment. Their proven techniques empower parents to confidently navigate challenges and connect with their children on a deeper level. From managing temper tantrums to fostering open communication, they provide practical solutions that work. Join a community of parents who have experienced the transformative power of positive parenting. Click on their show notes today to learn more about and watch an exclusive 60-minute webinar on positive parenting. Welcome to the Wisconsin Wellness Podcast. I'm Lori Groh, your host, mental health therapist, and practice owner. Each month, we'll showcase a central theme and provide weekly practical hacks, inspiring interviews, and valuable advice from wellness professionals. Our aim is to help you streamline your wellness and mental health journey. So let's start the show. Hi, fellow Wisconsinite. It's Lori Groh from the Wisconsin Wellness Podcast. And today we have Calla Martin, Clinical Outreach Manager at Charlie Health. With a profound passion for mental health advocacy, Calla is committed to breaking down barriers, fostering a supportive environment. Today we're going to be talking with her about Charlie Health, which is a virtual online IOP program, intensive outpatient program. If you're curious at all about what IOP programs look like, or if you are thinking weekly outpatient therapy is not quite enough for you, IOP programs or Charlie Health's free support groups might be the answer. So, Calla, could you share a bit for people that might not be aware what an IOP program is and what it looks like? Maybe you could share a little bit about Charlie Health IOP program.
Yep. So IOP, intensive outpatient program, is like that middle tier for treatment. Typically, when you hear about therapy, it might be just a one-on-one individual therapy session. So it is a step up for people who do need a little bit more of an intensive program. But it's also that step down from maybe a partial hospitalization or a residential treatment center. So it's really that middle ground. Our IOP with Charlie Health is 3 hours, 3 times a week. We also have an individual therapy component as well. So you're paired with a primary therapist 1 time a week, and then an optional but highly encouraged family therapy session as well. What's nice about Charlie Health is that virtual piece, because when we were talking about the commute, some people live further away, they don't have time to drive. So it's nice that they have this virtual component.
Especially with that family piece as well, because that tends to be a bit harder.
Right. That family piece, it doesn't have to be biological family. There's a lot of different types of family dynamics that we see. So it can be chosen family as well. It does not have to be someone who's directly related to you. We make it optional family because some cultures aren't necessarily open to as much therapy as mainstream America may be.
How old are your typical clients that are coming in?
Yep. So Charlie Health right now serves people who are ages 11 to 34. And we newly launched a maternal mental health track that goes up to age 40. So those are the ages that we'll see.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the maternal track?
Yeah, so that is a newer track, and we do have other tracks as well, but the maternal mental health track is especially exciting just because oftentimes you have a baby and then you're off into the world and there's not too much support out there. The program really tailors to postpartum depression or perinatal mood and anxiety disorder. So your primary therapist will be skilled in those areas, and you'll be with other individuals in group who are going through very similar lived experiences as you are. So it's nice that they have that support and have someone else in group where they can have that Me Too moment.
I love that too, because the individual therapy could be great for a new mom during that time. But the group aspect, especially for mothers, would be extremely impactful.
Right, because oftentimes they're feeling like they are truly alone and no one else is going through it, or people can't relate, right? Our groups are very curated. So it's based off of the individual's condition, their age, the treatment modality, and those lived experiences. So We have veterans tracks. We have neurodivergent individuals with autism or ADHD, LGBTQIA, BIPOC. We also offer those support groups as well. You'll have access to over 20 support groups for the patient, but also the caregivers as well.
So there are these tracks for the IOP program, and then there's the additional potential support groups as well.
Yep.
Is that right?
So you would have access to all of that. Yep. And then
That's really
following
cool.
group, we always like to set people up for success. So we'll start discharge planning from day one so that they're set up with a primary therapist or maybe psychiatrist. Join the alumni support groups too.
There's
Yes.
a lot of support. I love
Yes.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
When somebody is looking to virtually come in to do the IOP program, what does that initial first step look like?
Yeah. So typically, if it's coming from a referral source, maybe they already have a primary therapist, maybe they admitted into the emergency department, wherever they're coming from, a member of our admissions team will contact them within 2 hours. I'd like to say around 2 hours once that referral or filling something out online. From there, once they're able to get in contact with the patient or maybe the caregiver, they will verify their benefits first. We have a lot of financial advisors to help along the way as well, but then they could schedule that intake, which is a biopsychosocial, within the first 24 to 48 hours of calling. If it works, they could join group that evening. We're all over social media, so if they see anything on social media, they can fill it out that way, whatever is easiest for them.
And they'll get a call back within 2 to 3 hours.
Yep, our admissions team is great. They work really hard. When it's in crisis, they don't really have time to wait.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with IOP, worked with a lot of different IOP programs, and that tends to be the hardest part is, somebody's coming in and they're in that potential crisis of, okay, let's get you into that next level of care. And then they might not be able to talk to somebody right away. It might take even longer than a couple of days. And what I see tends to happen is there's like the ebb and flow. They might be feeling a bit better and then not follow through.
Mm-hmm.
And then a week later, they're back into that crisis. And they might have missed that opportunity, or they're on a waiting list and they're really struggling. So that idea of being able to call and set something up and start the process and possibly even get into a group then that next day or two is really remarkable.
Oh, definitely. And when people hear the time commitment of IOP, it might be daunting at first, but if we think about the time that they're putting into IOP, those are life-saving hours. What could happen in 9 hours if they're just doing what they're already doing to not get support?
And I saw the schedule that you had given us when we met the other day, and the schedule, you're right. At first it could feel daunting of 3 hours, 3 times a week, that could feel like a lot. But the way it's set up, it does seem to me like it allows for that variety and different. What other types of sessions might a client be involved in?
Yeah, so that's the fun part. It could be the first hour of group, could be CBT treatment, it could be around trauma. Then it could be maybe that second block could be DBT, it could be mindfulness or art therapy, music therapy, yoga and dance. It's really, like I said, very curated to what that patient needs.
I think it's important too that typically when somebody goes to therapy, it's going to be one thing, one type of therapy for the most part. A lot of us use different modalities and really try to feel where a client's at. But that idea of working with an individual and not just having the talk therapy, but adding potentially yoga or art therapy or music therapy really affects that whole person. So they're not just coming in and feeling like they have to talk the whole time. They can do work that's actually going to help them be more connected with themselves, with their body, potentially expressing themselves and learning different things about themselves and the world through those experiences, which is a holistic view on therapy and treatment and how we are as humans. Very cool.
and not putting them into a certain box, because it's not a one size fit all. It is holistic. And maybe when people have sought out treatment in other ways, that's, well, I guess I'll go with this one because this sounds most like me. But you're right. Being in different types of groups will show them, okay, you're learning more about yourself.
Sometimes a client will come in and they'll say to me, I don't feel like really doing anything, but I wanted to show up. So I'm here.
Yep. Yeah. It's always nice and encouraged during group. But like you said, some days are going to be than others, and you may not want to show your face or participate. So our group facilitators are great at making sure that you're still present, because we want to also save. So it might be your camera's off, but we need an emoji to show that you're participating. So a thumbs up or any type of emoji you want to throw out there. If it's one of those situations where the client is making comments of maybe self-harm or is as participatory and we're not getting any type of feedback from them, we have care coaches that will actually pluck them out of group and put them in a one-on-one session to stabilize and to see what's going on. And if any situation needs to be escalated, we can call parents, we can call emergency if anybody else is needed.
I think that part really stood out for me as well, because I think a lot of individuals that might be looking into IOP and considering virtual care might have that fear of, what if I'm in a place of wanting to harm myself? How can the virtual component help me? So that offers a lot. So if they're in group, there is that option for somebody to pluck them out, take them to the side, and really get a better assessment of where they're at.
Yep. And as soon as they go into that one-on-one room, a safety plan will come up that they agree to prior to group starting. And it's whatever it's tailored to what that patient needs. So maybe it's sitting in their favorite chair. Maybe it's grabbing a favorite stuffed animal or something that will help them.
That's really great. Can you tell me about the different states you are all located in and who can come see you?
Yeah, so we're in 30 states now. Our newest states were Alaska and I believe North Dakota. I'm in Wisconsin. We just started here in July, so coming up on a year pretty soon here. And within most states, it's major commercial insurance. And some states, again, because we're newer and it does a bit longer to get Medicaid, it will take some time in a few other states to get Medicaid approved. And then in Wisconsin, we take commercial, TRICARE, and no Medicaid quite yet, but we're hoping very soon.
That's impressive.
Hopefully we have big goals that can get to all the states and maybe other nations. That would be cool.
That would be really cool. It's great that you're in Wisconsin. I had not heard of Charlie Health before. This is great that you're the person that's going out and talking to people and making people aware that this is out there. Number one, because it was great to talk with you and you're easy to talk to. You're so engaging and you're able to make people feel comfortable. I'm just imagining that's how Charlie Health operates.
We are such a family. You probably heard just now, Slack notification there. We're constantly raising each other up. We camaraderie, fun because our clinical team will hop on our more outreach team and share actual stories of the progress that these patients are making and the lives that we're saving. And we can certainly share some of their life, but that's really what is for me, is just being able to know that we're saving.
Yeah. Do you have some of those quotes? I'd love to hear some success stories, something that can give listeners that hope of, okay, this could be me. This could be my future.
Yeah, let me pull some up here.
Yeah.
I really didn't know what to do for my daughter before Charlie Health. I've always felt alone in this. I felt so helpless. Within the first week, my daughter was acting like herself again.
Wow.
Charlie Health has given my daughter and me lifelong tools to navigate her anxiety and panic attacks. I've been blown away and I'm very impressed and very happy.
That right there is incredible, because as a parent, I know that there can be things that come up and you do feel that like you're alone or you're not sure what to do, or how do you talk to people about what's going on with your child? And then that feeling of total responsibility that can weigh you down, and know that there's people involved, other people that have your back, other people that are there helping your child through something very difficult can be enough to just breathe and feel less alone and feel like as a caretaker that you can keep going.
Right. That someone's going to be there to catch them. And that's what's great. It isn't just about the child too. It is about the parents. They're the support groups as well for the parents because they're going through it too. And it's certainly a different way of experiencing what their child's going through, but being able to talk with other caregivers and parents, again, that are going through the same thing.
And one thing, I do want to point out too is the fact that somebody can get into a group that seems to match where they're at, who they are, feel much more connected than potentially going to a different IOP program that is limited and smaller of, okay, you're in Wisconsin, you're in Milwaukee, you're all about 30 minutes away, maybe a little further. People might not feel so comfortable with talking to other people right there in their immediate community. So I do love the fact that somebody could come in and be matched with a group that aligns with them.
There's been someone with purple hair in Wisconsin and purple hair in New York, and they were in group together, and it's, oh my gosh, they're here.
Yeah.
But in that same sense, too, is with traditional IOPs, some parents might be a little hesitant to their teens to IOP because they might be exposed to things they've never been exposed to. So we don't pair those 18-year-olds maybe with substance abuse with a 13-year-old girl who has some type of trauma. Maybe that 13-year-old isn't familiar with some of the things that someone with a substance abuse disorder might be experiencing.
Oh, that is so helpful to know because that would sometimes happen in group work. Yeah.
And then they come home or research or ask questions. It's like, where did you learn this?
Right. Right.
And in the same sentence, I know you touched on the community. So if maybe they go to a traditional IOP and they see someone that they know and it's, that might deter them from returning from group. Our team does a really good job as we have that open communication with our school clinics to try to keep them apart so that those patients won't be in the same groups.
Really nice too. It's like, what are those barriers to getting the help you need? And that's a huge barrier. I'm noticing a huge shift in mental health stigma. It's decreasing significantly, but we still have a ways to go. You still might feel like you don't necessarily want everybody.
Yep. And it's your own path to healing.
Yeah. I feel like some of the trends I'm seeing individuals post-pandemic is social anxiety and agoraphobia, which is another reason why the virtual IOP could be so helpful as well.
Oh, definitely. Agoraphobia. We see a lot of phobias, and that's certainly one.
I'm curious of how long does somebody typically stay in the IOP program? What's the shortest, longest, typical?
Anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks. We've talked on that honeymoon phase, right? So if they are at like a 6-week mark and they're like, oh, I'm feeling good, it might make sense for them to just continue because we never know when they might get into a low again. So being able to maintain that treatment, even if you're not in IOP, you have access to those 20 plus support groups. If you're not in our IOP, you can access and register our free community support groups, some for athletes, some for caregivers. We have other ones for, I believe it was suicide survivors. So we have quite a few free support groups that and the community can join. But our website is charliehealth.com, and I can share with you my email as well if any of your listeners have any questions.
Great. And I'll put that in the show notes too. All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you for joining us today on the Wisconsin Wellness Podcast. Remember, your well-being is a priority, and we're here to help support you every step of the way. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring content on health and wellness. You can also join our Facebook group to connect with Wisconsin wellness providers by clicking the link in our show notes. Take care of yourself and remember that your well-being is a journey, not a destination. We look forward to you joining us again next time on the Wisconsin Wellness Podcast. Until then, stay well and stay inspired.